Send it, boy.
Woo! Look at those biceps, boy. We're obsessed with biceps here.
Small.
So small.
So small.
Welcome to Bibles and Biceps.
Christmas
we are
edition.
In Christmas edition. We're wearing our ugly Christmas sweaters. These guys, their sweaters look pretty good on them. They look fantastic.
Got a tie.
Devin's actually won a contest for the ugliest Christmas sweater in the world.
Yeah, I got this last year. All the make-your-own Christmas sweater kits went on clearance after Christmas. When I had picked myself up one, made the ugliest Christmas sweater I could.
All right, but like we said, we're here at Bibles and Biceps. We are doing our last week of this series. We're going to be talking about the birth of Jesus in this Christmas season. And so for me, when I just think about the birth of Jesus, one thing that I always think about is the vulnerability of the way that Jesus came into this world. That he came into a world, he was already being persecuted, sought after, before he was even born. And that just shows that he was so strong, there was power. But just think about how he came in a manger, and the way that it was so vulnerable and uncomfortable. And so for me, anytime that I feel uncomfortable, I feel like, oh, I don't want to do that, I don't want to talk to that person, I don't want to do that. I get this sense that Jesus came into this world so vulnerable. He lived such a vulnerable and uncomfortable life, and he's calling us to live like him. That I should probably go and be vulnerable. Yeah. I should probably live uncomfortably and just trust in God that he's going to lead me through that. Wow. And so another thing that has really, I think it's been so cool all throughout this series, for me, I think I've gotten a lot out of it, is another thing about like the Ecclesiastes 3:11, that everything is beautiful in his time. And so we see in the song Seasons that we talked about a week or two ago, it says, you could have saved us in a second, instead you sent a child. And so I just think about that God was so powerful, he could have saved us in a second, instead he sent a child, because that was his plan, because that was beautiful in his time, and he had that plan, he had it all mapped out. And so we'll see that as we learn more about the birth of Jesus.
Yeah, absolutely. I just kind of wanted to ask a question before we move on. And so we see in Matthew chapter 2, in the very beginning, after Jesus was born, and the star appears in the sky, and so the wise men are coming from the east, pursuing this star, and so they're crossing through King Herod's province, and so he summons them, because he hears that they're pursuing the new king, this baby king that's really concerning to Herod. He doesn't want to lose his position, and so he summons the wise men secretly, and ascertained from them what time the star had appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, go and search diligently for the child, and when you have found him, bring me word that I too may come and worship him, right? Mm-hmm. And so when I was reading over that, I was like, obviously we know King Herod's up to no good, right? He doesn't want this new king rising up, overthrowing him. And so I just had this thought, I was like, why would he send, of all the people in his kingdom, why would he send the wise men to do his dirty work? He lied to them. It was like, I just want to know where he's at so I can come and worship him. But, he has all these military leaders, all these soldiers that he could have sent to go look after this child. I mean, there's this thought that possibly he may have genocide all these two-year-olds and under, because he felt so threatened by this new baby, this new king that had been born. And so obviously something was up in the way that he was acting. But the fact that he sent these wise men, it just shows God's goodness in the fact that wise men at the end of the day are the ones that not only find Jesus and bow before him, but don't go back to Herod, because they're smart enough and they have God's wisdom to know that he's up to no good. And so we're going to do everything in our power to save this king so that he can save this world,
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. I think about the vulnerability of Jesus. Here's Jesus. He's basically a king now coming to be the lowest of the low, not even a place really to be born, not even a suitable or sanitary place to be born. But here's the king of the universe, being born through that. And here's these wise men that are, they're obviously astrologers. They're looking for something that is beyond them, that is greater than them. And here they finally see the star, and they follow the star and just find Jesus. And here they are in Matthew 2, and it talks about when they saw the star, they were rejoicing exceedingly with great joy. I would be too if I'm looking for something. and they find it, and going into the house they saw a child with Mary his mother, and they fell down and worshipped him. And then opening their treasures they offered gifts and gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And then it says, and being warned in a dream, they did not return to Herod, and they departed to their own country by another way. But here they are. Here are these three grown men that are probably pretty smart because they're called wise men. They're falling at the feet of a little baby. You know what I mean? Talk about humility within that. But here they give three gifts: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And really these have a symbol, a spiritual symbol, basically as gold as kingship on earth. Gold is a symbol of being a king. Many things, if you were a king, you would have gold basically to symbolize a kingship. Here's frankincense they give because it's a symbol of deity, as this baby named Jesus, born in a stable, in an inn, basically, that he is God. And then myrrh basically to symbolize death. And that's pretty crazy that myrrh would come and basically symbolize death, because now you know later that Jesus comes basically to die on a cross for the sins of the world. And so this is just foreshadowing of the wise men, kind of what they were in tune with, really, of what really the grand plan was, that they could be that humble, that, basically in the Jesus story, there's a lot of people just miss the point. But here are the wise men from like the very beginning, they're just like, no, like we get it. You know what I mean? Like we understand what's going on.
I think it's so crazy. I think it goes along with what we talked about in Proverbs. It's like that light was God providing a way. It was God providing them with the steps that they were going to take. It was Him establishing those steps as they walk on that journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it reminds me of this verse. I can't remember off the top of my head, so I'm going to find it. About 119, it says, "The word is the lamp to my feet and the light of my path." And that we have, you know what I mean? Like, here's a star in the sky, you know what I mean? And like, the word was with God and with, you know what I mean? Was with God, was God and was with God. And then I think about this is Jesus coming in, and there's this light that is a lamp to the wise men's feet. And here is the word right now that they're becoming flesh. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what.
Absolutely. And so I think the reason and the motivation that we've had in doing this series is to look through all three of these wisdom books, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Job, and look at three different aspects of these people searching for answers as to why life is, why this world is the way it is, why so many bad things, good things, righteous things, and evil things happen to us. And pretty much all of them come to the conclusion of we don't know, and even God says, to Job, were you there when I laid out the earth? Were you there when I created the behemoth and the leviathan, these two mythical creatures? And we don't know. And there's such a stark contrast between knowledge and wisdom. We really harp ourselves up and brag of ourselves and think that we're so smart, and we take all these classes and get all this higher education so that we can do well in this world, and we correspond knowledge with success. But really, it's got nothing to do with wisdom. You could know every fun fact, or you can know all the formulas, or the Pythagorean theorem, whatever you want to say. You can be as smart as a NASA astronaut. I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. But that doesn't mean that you're wise, and we find our sense of wisdom from God. We have to ask Him for it, because it even says in Proverbs, sometimes being wise is just a fool being silent. Sometimes it's as easy as just shutting your mouth, And so what we see in Matthew is wise men finally, after thousands of years of searching for answer, find that answer in Jesus. After Ecclesiastes, all this negative thinking, like all this is in vain. Why am I alive right now? What is my purpose on this earth? Finally, we find that in Jesus. We know why we're here. We know that we've been commissioned. We know that we're here to spread God's love and to spread His gospel. And we just find so much encouragement in that the wise men find God, and that we can seek that wisdom in God, ask Him for it, and that it will truly change our purpose and our lives.
Yeah, I got one thing that's been kind of killing me in this, and just kind of got brought to me, is this 1 Peter 3. It says that His divine power has granted to all of us all things that pertain to life and godliness through the knowledge of Him who has called us to His own glory and excellence. And what that basically is saying is that God has granted to us by His divine power. If you believe in Him and you accepted what Jesus has done on the cross for you, that everything that you want to know to life and godliness is through the knowledge of Him and coming to know who Jesus is. And so you want to have wisdom, Jesus. You want to know anything else outside this world, come to know Jesus, and everything that pertains to life will be given to you through the knowledge of Him.
Absolutely. So we really hope that you've enjoyed this process. If you haven't watched any other videos in this series, we highly encourage you to go back, forget everything you heard about in this video, and go watch those. Once again, there's going to be a vlog corresponding to this. Hope that those are speaking to you, and we're looking forward to many more great things happening through Bibles and Biceps. But until then, we hope that you had a great Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Share and subscribe.
And if you have any comments of anything that you feel like God's put on your heart, or words of encouragement that you found through any of the videos, we would really love to hear those, whether it's on the social media sites or on YouTube, whatever. Yeah. If you're on the page, if you're subscribed, or if you're not, we would just love to hear that and see the way that God's working in your life, and we'll be praying for you through that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you for watching.
Merry Christmas.